Okay. All right. Thank you for the introduction, for Jacob and Dr. Vice President Naoto Yoshikawa Sensei. Thank you very much. Today, I would like to talk about the state and the future of sport tourism in Japan. So my field is sports. Field is a sports, so I will talk about the sport tourism. So this is just introduction. So I don't have much time today, so I skip it for the presentation. Oh, right. This is my research interest. There are several topics such as socio-economic impact of sporting events, and also sport event and community development is also my field. So my point of view is that I want to utilize the sport or sporting events for the community development. So I think the sport is a useful tool for the development for the community or some individual or something. So that's my perspective. And sport consumer behavior is also my field. So first of all, I would like to talk about the introduction of sport tourism. What is sport tourism? And also what's the impact or legacy of those kind of tourism, sport tourism. So this is kind of definition of sport tourism, but it's not different from the general tourism definition. It's just sports by tourism. So yeah, it's not so different, but I will explain in detail. This is a typology of sport tourist.
Professor Oshimi, I'm just sorry to break in. Your presentation slides are not moving while you're talking.
Is it okay?
Now it's fine, yes.
Okay, maybe, you couldn't see it, but no. It's fine, right? Okay, this is the sport tourist typology. And that are the participants of sporting events like a marathon or cycling event, and also spectators in the stadium, like a FIFA World Cup, Tokyo Olympic and the Paralympics, or Premier League, etc. And also the people who love playing golf and also enjoy skiing and snowboarding and also camping, etc. So those kind of people are the sport tourists. So you can see that sport tourism spreads several fields, like a sporting event, like a marathon and baseball, soccer, everything. And also outdoor recreation, like a skydiving or camping, also included in the sport tourism. Health and fitness also related to sports, because sport and health is highly correlated. So hot spring or hiking for health, that's also sport tourism. And this is the advantages of sports. So the unique characteristics of sport, especially sporting events, is like an uncertain outcome of the games, and also all sensory embodied experience we can get, and also emotional engagement in the stadium or some arena. Sorry, the big volume. This is the movie of the Rugby World Cup 2019, 2 years ago. This is a fan zone next to the stadium. So they can enjoy the atmosphere around here, and also they can drink beer and watch the game on TV in public. And also, sorry, in the stadium, they can enjoy the atmosphere with 50,000 spectators. This is a Tokyo Stadium. And before the game, we sing a song like a country road, like karaoke. So this is kind of concert, and also, but this is a sporting event. So we could get like an all sensory embodied experience, emotional engagement. That's kind of one of the characteristics of sporting events. I have been there, and I took a video there. Okay. And this is an example of the community commitment in the local area. This is the place of the Kagoshima. Kagoshima is south of Japan, and marathon event is held. And this is a very popular marathon event, and 13,000 participants attend the event. And if we look at this picture, the local residents are highly involved with the event. They provide a local food and beverage. And please look at this picture. They dig a hole to find a hot spring, and this is for runners, participants, and they spend $5,000 by themselves just for runners. This is a resident spend $5,000 for runners. This means that the residents are highly involved with the event, so they expect the coming annual marathon events every year. So this is a trigger. Marathon events that trigger to unite the community. This is a community commitment example. And also we have a trend like a golden 4 years from 2019 to 21st. 2019, the Rugby World Cup held 2019. It was held, and Tokyo 2020, it's postponed. And also World Masters Games 2021, that is also postponed because of COVID-19. So we call it those three major mega sporting events are as golden sport years. And also the 2026 Aichi Nagoya, in Aichi Nagoya, we have Asian Games. Asian Games is the biggest sporting event in the Asian region, like Olympic Asian Games, something like that. And 2030, I don't know, it haven't decided yet, but Sapporo might bid the 2030 Winter Olympics. But yeah, as I said, the city mayor announced they will bid the Sapporo Winter Olympics, but we don't know yet. Those kind of events are categorized in these kind of the mega events or hallmark events. So that's why we call the golden sport years. But as you can see, the prospect for Tokyo 2020 is, we don't know yet. And this is one of the latest poll. The 59%, 60% of residents, people in Japan should be, the Tokyo 2020 should be canceled. And 16% people should be held with regulations. So we need to regulate the number of spectators. And 23% people think it should be canceled without spectators. The behind of the numbers, the vaccination rate is still 4% or less. It's just one time vaccination rate. So the 2 times, I think 1.something% or less. So people are tired of the event because the Olympics is too much related to politics. So people are tired of the politics and Tokyo 2020. So that's why the number 60% people, it should be canceled. And of course, it's because of COVID-19 situation. But we expected the legacy by holding those kind of events. So this is an example of the Rugby World Cup stadium, and 5 stadiums were utilized from the past mega sporting events. The Korea-Japan FIFA World Cup 20 years ago, it was held 20 years ago. And those stadiums were utilized for the Rugby World Cup 2 years ago. So this is kind of a tangible, visible legacy for the host community. And of course, these kind of stadiums are utilized for the daily, regular sporting events. This is an example of the intangible legacy, invisible legacy, such as image and memory, and also volunteer experiences. those kind of legacy is also important. For example, All Blacks, New Zealand, had a campground in the Oita. This is also south in Japan. And they had a good connection with each other. So they might bid the training camps, future training camps, or at some sporting events. So the connection is really important by holding those events. Volunteer experience, also a good legacy for the future coming sporting events. So we need a platform to connect those kind of legacy, like hospitality or something like that, and coming future sporting events. So we need a platform to unite those legacy to the future sporting events. So the platform is like a sport commission or international federation, national federation, or private company or technology, something like that. So this strategy is necessary for further development. So this is the first half of the like my field. So I would like to introduce the second, the future of sport tourism in Japan in the second half. So trends in the sport tourism is like, this is not just the sport, but sorry, this is a small, but you can see the number. We expected in 2020, 40 million visitors, and 2030, 60 million we expected before COVID-19. However, as you can see, in 2020, about maybe 3 to 4 million visitors only because of COVID. We hope it will be recover again. So, but in a sport tourism stream, participating sporting events is really popular. Over 3,000 marathon events are held every year, including like a fun marathon, fun events, and also triathlon, cycling events also held. And outdoor sports and a Budo tourism at a top, what's that? The kind of the next sport tourism in Japan. So please look at this short video. This is briefly summarize the sport tourism in Japan. This is made by the Japanese government, so they summarize well. So I think it's easy to understand. The snow sports is really popular, and we have a lot of ski resorts, #1 in the world. We have a lot of mountain and forests. Scuba diving. We have a lot of ocean and island, beach. We have a lot of rivers for river sports. And also Japanese love golfing, play golfing. And we have a lot of golf course, third in the world, even in a very small country. Martial arts, Budo, that is a Budo tourism. The foreign tourists expect to watch the Budo not soccer, baseball. Soccer and baseball are popular, but Budo is more interested for tourists. All right. And I think how many minutes do I have, Jacob?
You have 2 more minutes, so please.
2 more minutes. Okay. This is just Budo tourism promotional movie, so you can watch on YouTube. So I skipped it. All right. I've been to one of the outdoor tourism sites, Shimanami Kaido. That is Shikoku national cycle route, one of the national cycle routes. You can enjoy those kind of beautiful sea and by riding bicycle. And also they develop the infrastructure like a cycle train that is also necessary for cyclists. And this is another national cycle route that is Kasumigaura, Ibaraki Prefecture, next to Tokyo. And that is also popular cycling route. And an interesting example is that they provide a camping and a cycling. So at night, we can enjoy a night bar. Actually, I've been there and I enjoy with my family. And I enjoy tent sauna. So this is one of the popular places. And in the station close to the Kasumigaura, the cycle route, they develop the infrastructure. On the blue line, they can take on the bicycle. Also, the station cycle hotel is into the cycle in the station cycle hotel. And another topic is the outdoor leisure activity is also really popular, camping. And Snow Peak is one of the popular Japanese outdoor company. After COVID, their stock values has been growing drastically. I have to buy that, but I couldn't. Anyway, the outdoor leisure is really popular. So this is the last slide. So the sport tourism is useful tool for community development, as I said, like by holding sporting events or outdoor leisure or training camps and attracting visitors by like a professional sport or Budo tourism. So we need it like infrastructure development for the further development. So I think it's time. So thank you very much.
Yes, here I'm from the start. Yes, thank you very much for the opportunity. Thank you to Tokai University. Actually, some of my colleagues have been working for a very long time together with you. That was a time where we thought that there would still be a Danish pavilion at the Olympics, and unfortunately, that's not possible. But then we have this opportunity, and I'm responsible for sustainable tourism in Visit Denmark. So therefore, I'm so happy that I'm able to share some of the views, how we work with sustainable tourism. Of course, this is an issue that's been very on everybody's mind for many years, and it's not the least after COVID-19. Here's the agenda that I want to talk to you about. Just a brief introduction to what is Visit Denmark, what is our job. Then I'll lead you through sustainable tourism, so we have the same definition of the subject. Of course, talking to you about how we work with sustainability is the main topic of today, and the way that we work with it in communication, looking to what are the demands from the tourist, and also how does it fit into our brand, which is called the Land of Everyday Wonder. And then I will give some few examples if I have time in the end to tell you about how we actually in practice, how do we communicate about sustainability. But let me first introduce Visit Denmark. This is our national tourist board, and our vision is to promote Denmark around the world. We have 8 market offices. We are active in 8 markets. Unfortunately, not in Japan anymore. I think it's about 10 years ago that we left Japan. We are still present in Asia, in Beijing. But as you see, our vision, it's already there mentioned that what we want to work with is a kind of tourism that we can live with and live from. So it's that's also a part of sustainability. I'll come back to that later. But our mission, that is to raise the interest for traveling to Denmark, and we work with a lot of knowledge about the tourist and about effective marketing, and I'll also show you some examples of that. Actually, 1 year ago, we put up a new strategy just before the COVID-19. Here it's written in Danish, so you probably can't read it, but it says that the strategy is to that can live from and live with. And that was exactly this sentence that, well, we need some money from the tourist, but we also need the kind of tourism that is accessible for our community. Yeah, so that's practically very sustainable. Let me also mention the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, not to go into detail, but just say that that is, of course, the aim of all what we're doing in Denmark. At the moment, there's a national tourism strategy coming. And of course, this strategy will also be aiming at these 17. The definition of sustainable tourism is the one that we took from World Tourism Organization. And it's a very clear definition saying that we should take account of both the current and the future impacts. We should look at both economic, social, and environmental impacts. And we should also address the needs of the visitors, industries, environment, and the host communities. And as we saw in the first speaker, I think the host community is getting much more important. So when you look at the figure, when we look at sustainability, we need to have both the impact from the economic side, from the social side, and the environment. Otherwise, it's not really sustainable. It's only if all three matters are concerned, then we have a pure sustainable tourism. This is then the list of how we work with sustainability in Visit Denmark. We have chosen 4 different tracks. Sorry, you heard that we are already very much into knowledge, and what we want to base all our work on is, of course, the knowledge about how is the demand, what is the demand side, and all the data we can collect is what we base the rest of our work on. So that is in the sustainability area, we have been looking into the demand side. And we have also produced some measurement tools. At the moment, we are very active in helping the government to put up the measurement tools. Sorry. Then we have another track, marketing. That is our main task. And there we promote tourism for all seasons and regions so that we will not have some over-tourism somewhere where we have too many tourists at the same time. So we try to spread it all over the year. In our communication, we already have a sustainable image in the Nordics and in Denmark, and we don't want to spoil it by really greenwashing, but we support our strong image, and that's what I will give you some examples of in a few minutes. We have a third track saying partnerships, that we share our knowledge with all relevant fora. We are involved in much in European collaboration, Nordic collaboration, and lots of collaboration also in Denmark, sharing knowledge about sustainability. What is it? And so that we can actually do something about it. And not least, of course, also internally, it should not only be the tourists who should be sustainable, or the tourism industry. In our offices, we also strive to work towards 17 Sustainable Development Goals. And this year, we even obtained a new label coming from the Green Key system. And I'm sure that Michael will talk a little bit about the different label schemes that is involved included in the Green Key. So these are the 4 tracks that we work on. And the first one I want to get a little bit deeper into is the knowledge that we have about the tourism side, the demand side, because it's of course very important to know what is in the mind of the tourist. And then we have for the last 2-3 years, we have been doing lots of surveys about how do tourists really see Denmark as a sustainable destination, but also what do they think, what is sustainable to them. We have, for instance, this overall question: to which degree do you think the sustainability will have an impact on your travel choices? It's based on all nationalities. And then here, the latest data we got from the German is saying that when you look at the green areas of the diagram, there you have that is quite a big part, saying that they think that it's to a very high degree or to some degree. Actually, that is among our target groups, the nationality that is really thinking mostly about sustainability. It's a concern for them, and it's really even raised a lot. It was high in 2019, 37%, but this green share was raised now. It's 43%. So this is quite a big share. But when you look at also the Dutch, we have numbers that they raised from 22 to 35. So that's really a great leap also in Holland. So we see it all over. It's a very big growing concern that we should also care about sustainability. We have also used this kind of research to find out what are the segments in the market. And we found out that if we look at these green area kind of tourists who think sustainability is very important, well, we could actually put them in a segment called Green Idealist. And then we have also put those people, those tourists who do not think about sustainability as a consideration, the 9+11%, the red part of the diagram, that's where you can see they are typically the green skeptics. So we have put these segments into analysis, and now we are looking very much into how can we communicate to the idealists. So that is also what we use this analysis for. We were talking about actually early on, it was said if sustainability is that really a travel purpose for people going on holiday. And at the moment, we haven't seen that. People will not, as the first thing, search for, I want to go to a sustainable place and I want to have a sustainable holiday. But it's very high in the mindset of what you expect when you arrive to the destinations. You would go there for pleasure, or you would go there for sightseeing, or you will go for different purposes. But sustainability is just a general mindset that you expect. And this has also increased after the Covid-19. Of course, you want to find a safe place, but you also expect that destinations take care of sustainability, that they're not too crowded, etc. So that has become even more important. So these were some inputs that we have based our knowledge on, based on the analysis. And then we come to the marketing part of my speech. Here you see what is actually at the moment, what we work on, the Danish brand, how we want to brand Denmark. I was very pleased to see all the sites and beautiful things that it's possible to visit and experience in Japan. We'll not have so many ski slopes, beautiful mountains, etc. But what we found out is what is actually interesting to come and visit in Denmark is our everyday. The quality of life that we have, the small things, the wonders that you go by bike to work, that is, you have beautiful architecture, that you even used old wood to make small sculptures in the woods, etc. All these small things, that's really what we have put into our brand, the land of everyday wonder. It consists of different themes. We have 7 themes that we tell our story about Denmark. And we were considering, should we also put sustainability into one of these? We have an 8th theme here. But then we found out, no, at the moment, tourists are not traveling somewhere to sustainability, but sustainability should be included in all these 7 theme stories that we tell. So this is the way that we're working with sustainability in our branding. To give you an example, here you have when we have the hierarchy of what we tell our tourists. Yeah, just a general brand, but once that we start to talk about one of the different themes, for instance, our food, well, where do you find it? And then the story is, where can you find, for instance, local producers who work very organic, or how can you find restaurants that take care also of waste and not waste too much food, etc. So we put in sustainability in all these hierarchies here. And that is the core of the message that we want to share about sustainability, is that instead of being too pushy and pretend that we are the best in the world, and here we have really the most sustainable destination in the world, that is not something that we want to communicate. We would rather, show it, nice pictures of sea that you can see it's a essential part of everyday life. And it's also something that should not be very serious. It's also possible to have a good time and still be sustainable. So this is really our more playful way to communicate sustainability, instead of having too much you should not do this and that. Here you have some examples. When we look at one of the ways that we want to develop year-round tourism so that it's sustainable, it's both economic and it's also nice for the communities that you have. You can actually have a job all year round. Well, how do you do it? We focus on Marketing Denmark and saying, well, you can do a lot of fishing outside the season. Here you have some new ideas of what to do, for instance, in the winter time. Around Christmas in the cities, etc. So this is one of the ways to do it. I also mentioned before, if we have some experiences with the sustainability angle, well, the organic restaurant we will put forward. We would also look more at how do you have food that is seasonal, so you don't import a lot of fruits that is not really on season, etc. So these are some of the examples, and you can have a look into it if you want to have some more input about that. I will go a little bit further and give you some examples of how we're doing it. For instance, on our website, when we look at, again, here, take the example of food. Well, you have some restaurants. You can get restaurants all over the world, but here we add fact boxes about where can you actually get organic food, and so everything is really based on facts and not greenwashing. So that is the way that we try to do it. We have also put up a checklist for our colleagues working in different markets, etc. But I have a checklist for all of them. If we have at least 2 of those things that you see to your right, if there's a clear sustainability component, if it's included something about public transport or cycling, or some images showing something about the national park, etc. If you can tick 2 of these boxes, then we will put it on the website and saying with the green fact box here, put attention to this. Well, these are some of the examples, but we are really busy at the moment. For the last year, we have been updating all our B2C communication towards the customers, the tourists, all our campaigns, the websites, the social media. We look at this from a sustainability angle. We also have looked at B2B travel trade, put up a toolbox so that it's possible for the travel trade to communicate and find out where do we actually find these sustainable places to sell to our customers. We have just launched a new press plan, including a lot of sustainable sites. We are tagging new pictures. if you have a look at the picture here to your left, that's one of the very popular pictures showing a green organic garden in the middle of Copenhagen. And in some way it looks as if you feel as if you're in the countryside, but actually you are just on a rooftop somewhere in Copenhagen. So yeah, we are finding new pictures, and we are working together with Instagrammers. They take a lot of takeovers, so it's really very democratic. Not only specialists placed in Visit Denmark putting on pictures, but a lot of everyday pictures that we can get from both tourists and people living in Denmark. I'll end up my speech here with just putting up some of the future activities that we are looking into. What was said was our communication message about that we should only be very subtle in the way we explain about green tourism in Denmark. We should only be showing that show it, not telling too much that it is very sustainable. Well, we will test that also. If we should put up some more hardcore messages, if they're in this special segment called the Green Idealist, is that something which is regarded very positive? Then of course we should put up the message a little bit further. So we will do some tests. We're also involved in some combined project with product development. Product development is not something that we do at Visit Denmark. We only working with international marketing and not product development. But then we work with stakeholders in Denmark, and at the same time as they make the campsites more sustainable, well, we will start also communicating where can you find the more sustainable camps. So these things will evolve the next few years, I think. And then finally, we're looking very much forward to the national strategy, and we're sure that it's going to be a lot of long-lasting activities towards 2030 about sustainability, and we're sure that Visit Denmark should may play a big part in that. So we are looking forward to discussing that, how the final strategy will be and how we can implement it.
Mikael, please go ahead.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here. It's nice to be here. Yes, I'm coming from the organization of Foresta and also head of Green Key of Denmark. I've been working with sustainable tourism for more than 20 years. So it's delighted to talk about this cross-border with Denmark and Japan. Who is Foresta? As Jakob mentioned, Foresta is a trade association of employees, organizations for restaurants, hotels, and the tourism industry in general. We organize about 2,000 companies from the industry. We were founded back in 1884 and has been working for a long time. And at this moment, we have been very busy at helping our business with the Corona issues, where a lot of business has been shut down because of Corona. So what in general is happening is in the world and also in Denmark is that the 17 sustainable development goals has been arrived and has been part of the world. And this is a scheme and how to work with this sustainable development. And this is also very taking effect in Denmark. Many have a lot of focus on this. We also see that the climate, there's a more focus on the climate because of the CO2 emission and how to deal with that. And this is also a very hot topic in Denmark. We have more and more plastic, and a lot of it will come into the nature and to the sea. We have islands of seas that are in the sea with plastic. So this brings us that we need to have some solutions. Sustainability is the top of the agenda of the political priority. the government that is now in place is the last election was actually kind of calling the an environmental and sustainable election, where all the there was a lot of focus on the sustainable angle. So what we see is that actually also is a big demand for the sustainable tourism from the companies. We have seen that for a long time, but it's increasing. We have seen that the bigger ones, especially if you have to have conference in Denmark, a big American company that want to have a conference in Denmark, they will focus on sustainable angle. And we can now see that the bigger companies in Denmark also actually kind of demand that they have this focus. We also have the public procurement, all the government, they have now a green public procurement, which is showing that you need to actually focus on when the public is buying something, they will have to focus on the green angle. And as you can see on the right side, this is QOL, a hotel chain that is with part of Green Key, actually got the offer or the demand from the public when they're holding conferences, etc. What we also see now is there is a demand for sustainable tourism from the Danes. Still not price and place is actually more important, but still there is a demand or kind of expectation that you will focus on sustainable tourism. If you're not, then you can maybe be judged away and you will not be chosen. So in that sense, many of the company has to focus on that. And what Eva said later on, that Visit Denmark has made a lot of surveys about this area, especially now near markets. And what we can see is that actually 36.5 million German tourists are idealists. They want to choose more sustainable in the future. And that's a big market to address. In Horesta, we made some years ago a strategy for sustainable tourism. This is our former CEO, Katja, that is showing it to the present Prime Minister, Mette Frederiksen. Before she got really busy with the Corona situation, she was actually looking at the strategy to see how the tourism can be more sustainable. And a lot of organizations are supporting this as well. A lot of the visit organization, a lot of the other tourist organizations are focusing on sustainability. So in that sense, we all work in the same direction. And we have a Ministry of Commerce that also said that Denmark should be one of the most sustainable tourist destinations in the world. So in that sense, we agree that we want to walk this forward. And as Eva said, there is now working on a national strategy where sustainable tourism is included. But of course, after Corona, also the economical angle will be relevant. And as you can see now on Visit Denmark's homepage, now there is a sustainable way into the for visitors that want to have the green, choose green. The way that we'd like to work with the sustainability is that it's we want to award tourism industry that are doing good instead of punish them that are not doing good. So we have made some eco labels that is relevant in the market. I will tell you something about the labels further on. The background is Green Key, which is an international eco label. I will get back to that. And then we have some existing co-label sisters to those. We have Green Camping, Green Tourism Organization, Green Sports Facility, and Green Restaurant. And then we have some in process as well, and those I will get back to. Green Key was actually it's an eco label for mainly hotels, hostels, and venues. It was started in Denmark for more than 25 years ago, and actually it was thought that it will only be a national area. But as you can see, we now have 3,200 tourism businesses awarded with Green Key in 65 countries, also included Japan. So it was invented by Horesta together with the Danish Outdoor Council and some other organizations, and it's now in big increasing. At the international level, we have an organization called FEE, Foundation of Environmental Education, that is in charge of Green Key in international level together with Foresta. Each country has a national operator or an office working with this to ensure that they comply with the relevant things. And as Mr. Professor Yoshi Kawa said, yes, there was 3 hotels in Japan that actually also have Green Key at the moment. And actually, it's back in 2016, we are having a perfect national operator meeting in Japan. Here we are at the Matsumoto, which is the Alp of Japanese of Japan, at Hotel Tobita Onsen Mayoryakan, which was a perfect place to stay. And especially I was impressed about the service that you have in Japan, and also a lot of the technical solution that could be inspired, that we in Denmark could be inspired of. So in general, it's also in Japan, but still there are possibility to grow. In Denmark, it has been growing for a long time, as you can see, especially starting in 2019, where we have COP15, the climate summit in Copenhagen. And at that time, we really started up. And as we can see now, the next couple of years, it will increase a lot, because it's now being a must rather than, you have to do work in this area. Because it gets more customers. I already showed you some of that there is a demand, and we can also see it's Visit Denmark also made a survey with figures from Green Key showing that you actually get more customers if you have Green Key. And you have a longer period of that they will be there. And you can reduce your cost. Here we are on a restaurant, Radisson restaurant, where they reduced a lot of cost with the lighting, with the changing the light bulbs, and reduce the cost. Here we are in Comwell, that reduce a lot with the with reducing the electricity on their all the administration and computers. And you can also save water and save money with the trying to save money, save water in a lot of different areas. And it will also eventually save money, because water is very expensive in Denmark. It's also a way to keep and attract colleagues. Before Corona, there was a lot of problems getting people to all the talents to the business. And when you actually have the sustainable angle, the sustainable work, you can attract colleagues and you can keep the colleagues, because they think it's a place to stay at this business. It's also a guide to how to make innovation and product development. On the left side, you will see that you can. There's an idea about how you can save water when you're having shower, making it a competition. How long you can, how small shower you can get. And on the right, in the middle side, you can actually make chairs out of plastic that you gather in the ocean. So you can use it in your promotion. Here it's Radisson using it in promotion in all the Nordic countries. And we try to make it easy to find. Of course, it's also on Visit Denmark's homepage, but we also have a site where you try to navigate and try to get people in that are working with sustainability. I've told you about some different sisters of Green Key, the green sports facilities. That is actually about 80 sports facilities in Denmark that are part of this. This is only a Danish version. Then we have green tourism organizations that Eva told that Visit Denmark has, because they have to walk the talk and also do something themselves. I can see Maria Sommer is also here, that is from Visit Vejle. They also got it some weeks ago. And most of the bigger organizations now actually apply for this system. We have Green Restaurant. This week we will launch Green Restaurant as a new thing, and we have new restaurants that are coming in. So this will be launched in this weekend. Still the same thoughts with Green Key, but with the same, but more focused programs. The same with camping. More and more campsites are focusing on green area, and this is then we have the green camping to address this, being a target label for them. And now we're working on green attractions. That is a project that we got some money from the state to run, and then we put some extra money in ourselves. And we want to find the best practice for this. So all the attractions that are using a lot of energy also can work on this issue. They have started up, but now we will get it all and collect it and spread it to all the business and make a target eco-label where we focus on the most relevant parts of it. It could be green museums. We have a lot of museums in old buildings that could maybe have some good things, because you're in this system, then get through all the area of the environment. So you can improve this. There are zoos and aquarium. Also use a lot of water, a lot of energy. How can we do that better so they use less? So it's not about destroying or not having it. It's by doing it better. The same with the amusement park. Amusement park should be fun, and it should be. You should have time to have a rolling coaster. This should not be forbidden, but maybe you can focus on how can you, which type of energy do you use, which type of can you maybe do something that the rolling coaster are using less energy. What we see now is on the agenda is that still focus a lot of less CO2. More focus on green, green energy, try to get more renewable energy. We focus on less plastic. Horesta has made an agreement with the government about how to reduce plastic in takeaway. There will be more focused on how to sort and reuse a lot of the garbage, so it's been reused in a lot of ways. And there's more focused on organic food. How can you spread organic food and local food? And then, of course, biodiversity, to ensure that the biodiversity and we're not killing species. So there's a lot of initiatives in this area, but if you're a company, it can be difficult to find out what to do. And then eco-labels can help you. It makes it easier to work with in a complex world where more and more coming in. Before it was only maybe about polluted ground, but now it's a lot of things that you have to consider when you're working on the sustainable area. It makes it more positive to work with. It's more fun to work with awards instead of trying to punish them for not doing good. And then you can work on minimizing greenwashing, which is actually things where you promote that you're green when you're not green. So you can make reliable promotion. And what you see is what you get is that we can see that more and more labels are getting more and more targets, and that's what we also try to do. On the left side, you see better animal welfare. So in that sense, you can get more target brands. So that's what we see.
Yes. Thank you, Jacob. And first, I will speak a little bit in Danish. Okay. Mit dansk navn er Thor Michael Hattori. Jeg er dansk, jeg er japansk, men jeg er født i Danmark og boede i Vedbæk, indtil jeg var 8 år. Så Vedbæk er min hjemby. Jeg er meget glad for at kunne tale foran danskerne. Tak. Okay, and back in English. Okay. And
could I ask you to bring your presentation into slideshow mode?
Yes.
Thank you.
It's okay? Okay.
Yes, perfect.
Okay. So yeah, back in English. And I said that my name is Thor Hattori and I was born in Denmark and it's my homeland and so on. Yeah. So far, I have heard a lot of interesting things today, and I specialize in cultural anthropology and psychology. In particular, my recent research has focused on local identity, which is the identity we have for the places we live in and interact with, such as tourist destinations. First of all, why is the local identity important when considering tourism? Therefore, we need to consider the current state of tourism in the world. As you all know, the number of tourists in the world has continued to increase until last year. Of course, this was a great economic boon for both Japan and Denmark. However, the tourism industry has been hit hard by COVID-19 crisis that started last year. And there has been a lot of discussion about this, but one thing I can say is that my pessimism will not change the situation. And the World Tourism Organization, for example, present this scenario. This indicated a major lifting of travel restrictions and a significant improvement in traveler confidence as early as July, but otherwise in September. Some argue that this is overly optimistic. However, Italy has now announced that they will start accept tourists from abroad without a 2-week quarantine. Regardless of how much it improves, there is no doubt that the tourism industry is moving towards the improvement. What has the tourism industry brought to us so far? There are many, but I have focused on the following 6 economic impacts and infrastructure development. It's important, but I skip the detailed explanation. Next, understanding cultural diversity. In 1967, the United Nations General Assembly declared the International Tourist Year under the motto, tourism passport to peace. But we are still on the way. Next, preserving tradition by preserving cultural and traditional resources that have been maintained as tourism resources. So we need to protect our traditional culture. Revitalization of local areas. Tourism contributes to the local economy by creating jobs and encouraging migration. In particular, it is expected to be a solution to the declining birth rate and aging population in Japan. And last is that tourism makes a great joy and pleasure in our life. This may be the most important things. At the center of all this can be considered QOL, quality of life, the theme of this seminar. And in my opinion, local identity is the core of the quality of life through tourism. So I will focus especially on the later 3 related to the local identity. The upward trend in international tourism over the years has signified the globalization of our world. However, the rapid decline in the number of international tourists due to the COVID-19 crisis seem to be encouraging us to return to the local area. If you think about it, humans originally started their activities with localization, then expanded their local areas, and then progressed to globalization. It can be said that humans originally started their activities from localization and then progressed to globalization while expanding their local areas. Under the COVID-19 crisis, we can start by thinking local again. We can make it an opportunity. Japan government has launched a domestic travel promotion program called Go To Travel. That's subsidies domestic travel, with the government providing up to whole of all travel expenses. There were pros and cons to these programs. While saving the travel industry, it could also spread in the infection. Therefore, the term microtourism was born to address tourism within the local area without traveling long distances. Microtourism may sound relatively new, but it was common in Japan. during 1970s, when ultra short vacations and limited budgets were known. This way of tourism is actually quite familiar for Japanese people. What I want to think about here is not the pros and cons of these programs, but the fact that microtourism has made us look again at our local areas. Here, I would like to introduce my research on traditional Japanese festivals and tourism related to them. This festival is held in the town of Noto in Ishikawa Prefecture in the Hokuriku region of Japan. This festival, called the Kiriko Festival, is widely distributed throughout the region. The Kiriko refers to a large lantern made of paper, bamboo, and wood, and they dedicate the lanterns to the gods to pray for a good catch. This is Kiriko with fireworks. It's beautiful. The Kiriko is painted with heroes such as the samurai. In this area, since the lanterns can be made in a few hours, they are called niwaka, meaning easy to make. And the 400-year-old festival has been passed down from generations to generations. And for the people, it is a symbol of the community and a source of strength. It is truly a local identity for them. So local identity is an identity where we belong to the place to provide features that create a recognizable image of the place and its residents to differentiate from other places. It provides special feelings through physical, social, sensory, and memory perspectives. So I can say that the place means that it can be a tourism resources. But this Kiriko festival is not famous nationwide. So it has not been considered as a tourist resources. And they have faced a number of problems in recent years. First, a lack of skilled painters is a problem. And lack of people to move the lanterns because of the outflow of population. And change in the main industries also change the meaning of festival, not for good catch, but for communication. But communication doesn't have to be with the festival. And therefore, the tourism that has emerged here is a way of tourism that maintains local identity and gives tourists a sense of local identity as well. As tourists played a role in filling in various lacks, they sense the same local identity as the residents, making the place a special place. Tourists were involved in the formation of a new local identity by playing a role in holding the festival together with the residents. In this case, we can see a preserving tradition, revitalization of local areas, and great joy in our life. So what is important is, in this case, is local identity. In the midst of globalized tourism, it is our culture, our life, and the nature that creates it that has become tourism resources. It's simple, but it's important. That is why quality of life is at the heart of tourism, and local identity is at its foundation. Under the COVID-19 crisis, we can start by thinking local again. To think again about the local means to think again about our lives and our culture. Finally, I would also like to consider tourism in Denmark. In 2018, I had taken my students to Denmark to learn about World Heritage sites. We saw Kronborg and Roskilde, and also powerful hunting landscape in North Zealand. This is a designed a landscape where the Danish kings and their courts practiced powerforce hunting or hunting with hounds with reached its peak between the 7th and the late 18th centuries. Then the absolute monarchs transformed it into a landscape of power. It was very interesting for us because Japan also has World Heritage Sites for cultural landscapes. But on the way there, our bus driver said to me that it would be no fun to go there, so we should cancel the trip and spend more time in the expo or such. Indeed, the expo was beautiful and the students were impressed. However, they were also very impressed by the powerforce hunting landscape of the sunset. It was a beautiful view that reflected the nature and life of Denmark, as well as the history and culture of Danish royalty. I believe that the people of Denmark can find their local identity in this old-fashioned Danish landscape. The students were equally impressed by Danish bread, Danish beer, tuborg, or flæskesteg or hakkebøf, sild, and walking around the streets of Copenhagen and looking at the sunrise. The round tower and mermaid are nice, but the living culture is what tourists are impressed by. So as under the COVID-19 crisis, there will gradually be more and more positive news about tourism. When we get global tourism back again, I will be able to visit Denmark too. Until then, we have to be patient, but I think it is important to take this opportunity to look again at our living culture and think about our local identity and make it even more attractive for tourism in the coming time. This seemingly simple, yet time-consuming initiative is truly an opportunity for us to think about quality of life. I think that what it means to overcome COVID-19 crisis. Thank you so much. Mange tak.